So, we have our guys in the studio. All right, so it has been said that the type of music the young people listen to today is having adverse effect on them, especially when the lyrics contain offensive words. Unlike controversies have trailed Olamide's new single, Science Student, as it was perceived to promote drug abuse. However, the singer has come out to say that the song was meant to preach against drug abuse and encourage responsible alcohol consumption among the youth. So, Toko, let me let you join. I know you want to jump. On this matter, what are your thoughts before we come to the audience?
So, the truth is that people have been, if you listen to the songs the past 3-4 years, the most trending songs, they've all been around this lifestyle, this lavish lifestyle of drinking, smoking, and living that as in every name of possible drugs that I didn't even know exist, I heard of for the first time in music, in Nigerian music. So you realize that they are simply saying what is on ground, and it appeals to people. The hue and cry has been more from a few people in the a few listeners, as opposed to the government's policy side.
Why are you bringing government now?
Exactly. Listen, Murayo, what you don't want, you come against it. What you want, you support it. Now, I listened to this song, and it is so unlike me to pay attention to the lyrics. I just dance around. I know that they are singing nonsense, but I had to listen all through. So yes, his statement read that he was promoting that people be conscious and stay away from drug abuse. There was no line in his song that said that stay away from drug abuse. What he did all through the song was mock the use of drugs. He mocked it. He didn't say don't do it. He said science students mixing all this concussion before you now go. You know, it was more like saying you're doing all these things, you don't know what it's all about. But he never at any point with any word say that don't abuse drugs. And he had the platform to do it.
Okay, but you see, that's where I have an issue. Why do we wait for Olamide to train your children? You train, it's like you watch Nicki Minaj and say, oh, because Nicki Minaj is naked, means I want to go naked. It starts from the foundation. That's the problem I have. Oh. You train your child the way you want your child to be. He will see Olamide, he will hear Olamide's song. He will see a Nicki Minaj and he will choose what he wants. But let you come in, Miriam.
For me, I agree that really the onus is on us, the parents. We need to be able to teach our children, because the world that we live in, they are in contact with information from everywhere, different types of information. I think we should be able to raise our children to, a certain level where they are able to distinguish bad and good. Do you understand?
Why
because
I agree with what
bad music has always, bad music, bad message from musicians and artists has been there from when I was really young. I mean, I even have my own personal experience with my mother, but she cannot, your parents cannot control everything you listen to, everything you watch, and everywhere that you are. Okay. But they'll be able to teach you and groom you, and they know that when you listen to some of this information or get in contact with
let me make the right jump here.
Why I agree with Tokwe 100%, but I have some amendments to what she said, is because I have seen where some people are just such strong influencers. That's what they are in society. They are very strong. And it is important that we encourage them, because, now it's not about your children anymore, but about them to know the roles that they are made to play. I saw a mother once excuse the nakedness of her daughter to a neighbor, saying, she's in the university, that's how they dress. Because some people have made it the norm in movies that, when they depict a role of university students, they're either dressing that way.
Mom shots.
And that's how they dress in the university. There's no uniform code in the universities. You're either decent or you're not decent. But the mother didn't see it from that point of view, because some influencers have come through the movies to make it seem like the norm. Now, Olamide is a major role model for a lot of people. Some people just love the way he's singing. Some people just love the fact that he made it early in life. He's a billionaire. He's singing and he's doing so many things. So when a person like that comes out, because of this, it was trending over the weekend, I listened to the song. I usually don't listen to songs. I listened to that song, and I got to the point where I heard him promote a particular drug. When he mentioned that drug, if he had said, don't do this drug, I would understand.
Let me pause you for a second, Nima. You see, I think that is part of the mental problems we have, Nima. We always want the person out there to fix the problem. Government, let me finish. Government, fix. Parents, fix. This one, fix. It's always an external thing. We don't always want to internalize the problem. We are the problems in this situation. In the situation where you're saying, we are waiting for the school to tell you not to dress that way. You should be able to choose. The right to choice is what we should train people to know. Choose not to wear.
if you leave human beings alone,
Yes.
they would go haywire. So they will go haywire. So the idea is that the systems are in place to structure what is acceptable and what isn't acceptable.
That's
If you
talking
don't
about
have
the role of
rules
the
on
NBC.
ground,
That's
if you
talking
don't
about
have,
the role of
yes,
the
if you
NBC.
don't have rules on ground, everybody will do whatever they want to do. And as much as you groom and train your children, there is the societal pressure that we cannot negate. And that is what I'm saying, that when everybody, it was trending, Mariah, everybody was dancing.
Wait
The
now.
TVC was dancing shaku shaku.
In
What is
support
shaku
of-
shaku?
wait.
Mariah, because the idea is that it has become a language and everybody is using that word. And then we see the videos trending. They were reposting the video. Hundreds of thousands of views of people doing concussion, different kind of concussion. The idea is that people go outside, you take all these things and you start feeling okay. You will not see children feeling like, if people say they feel this way, let me try it and see. Every one of us, on this platform, I can say we have good parents, but did we not try something because people were trying it? Can you say you didn't try
We
it?
tried it, but because I have the I can
You
choose
tried.
not to.
Now, in conclusion of what Tokwe said, it is important that when justice is done, it is seen to be done. What is right when you say you're doing something right, let it be obvious. When you said that song was promoting, talking against drug abuse, it should be obvious in that song. Anybody listening to that song can say it, not because you now come out and do a PR stunt and try to address when people are started criticizing it. Everybody that listened to that song, I've listened to that song and felt it was making it okay. Like, these people were in their own world. They get inspiration by using it. So, they mix anything.
always
That-
known these
it-
people
they were-
mix these things.
So we know they do.
Morayo,
You see, that's the thing for me.
On this show, we
wrong.
talked about the abuses of codeine,
Right.
tramadol. We talked
Right.
about the abuses.
Yes,
We talked about how it
absolutely.
is destroying our
Right,
society.
right.
I expect when somebody releases a music, it should be, complimenting the efforts we've made on this show.
Okay, let me come back to talk about.
So I was going to say that these people are influencers and they are sponsored by brands. A lot of brands jump on them with the idea of, let me reach out to this teeming audience. So we watch videos. A lot of them show videos and the videos are depicting this use of drugs. They are depicting the lifestyle that we don't want our society to promote. With the constant issues we have concerning drugs, I think that our government should take a more decisive stand against it. Morayo,
Anyway, okay,
it is the
okay,
job of the
that's a good
government. They
point.
can get it illegally. They would always get it. If you want to
say
go,
the
it shouldn't be
agency.
so accessible.
But the agency that should be doing this.
You see,
And
my
that
point
one.
is that why are we making it as if it's Olamide's responsibility to...
For me,
First
to
of all,
I'm not blaming
Olamide-
Olamide
Yes.
is taking advantage of the
On
lack
that
of
particular
policy.
point,
Yes,
I am
let's
not
come back.
Olamide,
Hang
please,
in there.
Olamide
Let
is
Mariah
taking
come in here.
advantage of the lack of policies. He will
Right.
do what he wants to do because there's no policy.
I make money
So I'm not
anyway.
blaming him. I'm blaming the government. He's not disobeying any rule now.
All right, let me come to Mariam.
Okay, yes. First of all, we need to understand that Olamide is an entertainer and out to make money.
Right.
Exactly.
So he will sell his product.
Anything to make money.
And you know what, for me, I would like to advocate is that we should, try and teach each other the right thing to do.
Right.
And in cases like that, what will happen is that if you know the right thing to do, you will not buy what you don't need.
I was going to say quickly that, you see, like you said, Olamide is out to make money. There's no law stopping him from making money. That is why we have regulators. That is why the NBC is there. That is why we have NAFDAC to regulate drug abuse and all that. We have the agencies. They should be on their toes doing this job. It is not a capitalist-free world, so just go and make money at anybody's detriment.
Thank you.
Somebody must regulate you, so you do it within the conformment of law. You must do it within limits.
So what I'm pushing for is that we have boundaries that will be maintained.
Exactly.
Boundaries must be maintained. And also, we've seen private business owners go into using celebrities to push their own brand, but we've not seen our government soliciting, and you don't need to pay them.
In recent
our
times,
government
actually,
soliciting
FRSC
celebrities.
does it.
In
now.
recent times, I know that the Lagos State
police,
government, and they're also doing a lot of drug...
So the
drug
people
awareness.
attacked the
Yes.
some of the statements online was attacking Governor Ambode, that Governor Ambode has adopted Olamide as a son. And Olamide keeps claiming Governor Ambode is my father. And so we should have Governor Ambode, and I'm appealing through this platform that Governor Ambode should have a chat with his adopted son, to say that, please, Lagos is endemically drug-ridden. And so can we have him stand as an ambassador to say, don't do drugs inside his videos.
Okay, I think we can actually end with that, but I would really like to get a comment from our audience. But unfortunately, I think we're having some issues with the mic. But unfortunately, do you have any last statements, Mariam, on this?
Well, to just agree with her, yes, I think we should have laws or rules in place to guide the excesses of our entertainers.
Right, we'll take a break now. When we come back, I know it's really, really hot. I know Olamide's story is hot, but we have to switch to another boiling hot story.
This one hotter.
Baba Yabo spoke. Stay with us, we'll be right back. Thanks for staying with us. So, we have a young man in the studio with us. He's running for the president of Nigeria. We have with us Ahmed Buhari. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you.
He's a young leader. He's a young leader that has clamored for youth inclusion in governance in Africa, not just in Nigeria, and we're really proud of him.
Thank you.
So we know we're supposed to focus on your ambition today, but when
Baba Yabo.
OBJ spoke, and to some people, he's the former president of Nigeria.
Yes.
To some people, they call him Baba Yabo. To some people, they call him the oracle of the Nigerian politics. People call him different things. He spoke during Jonathan's time. He has spoken again. So when that news broke, we said, you know what? Who better to comment on this than an aspiring president? But in your view, now that former President Obasanjo has spoken, advising the current president not to run, do you agree or do you disagree?
The question already has an answer. If I did make an open declaration in 2016 to vie for the highest office of the land, it was because we were tired of the recycling of the same kind of people to govern all sorts of people. And my open declaration was born out of my desire to see something happen differently, especially in my time. Nigerians have been faced with a repetition of the same order and expect something to happen differently. Nothing will happen differently except we change the status. And the only way we can change the status is when we actually participate in the process that actually delivers us leadership. We cannot sit on the sidelines and have comments, make comments of disdain, of discontent, of distrust, and then hate speeches here and there and expect things to just change overnight. If you want to see something happen differently, then you have to take part in the process.
But one more thing. Professor Issa Sage was saying in The Nation that why would Obasanjo has no right to speak that way, because he was somebody who was vying for third term. So why would you not ask somebody not to run for second term?
There's nothing wrong if you wanted to vie for third term and the system stopped you from achieving it and you decided to become a better person. And no matter what has happened in the past, more than anything else, we should be prepared to speak the truth when the time comes for us to speak the truth. Obasanjo has nothing to lose. I mean, this is a man who has achieved all that can be achieved in a lifetime, even a little bit more than what you would expect. So if he's coming out today to say, I disagree with what is going on, he did that in 2014.
Right.
And then some people didn't support him because they felt he was attacking somebody that they held very dear to their heart. Right. But then we're seeing it repeat itself, and I'm sure some people are going to be against him right now. But if you look at all the indices, very clearly, he's speaking the truth.
Okay, let me come to
President Buhari was clearly, you know, I would say he had a lot of Nigerians before getting the presidency wanting him desperately to get there.
Yes.
Because we thought that, you know, he knew what our problems were and had the solution, having vied for office several times that he didn't get it. Now, after getting to office, we see a different style, a slow-paced style, you know, almost, I would call it an indifferent attitude to what the issues really are. And now Obasanjo is saying that, and some people still have some things to disagree with him about. Do you think that those people are just sycophants, or they truly have no reason to worry?
Well, I don't know what to call them, but I think we shouldn't bother ourselves with them, really. We should be more concerned about how to get ourselves out of this quagmire. Look at all of us in this hall. We are all within an age bracket, and this is a time for us to rescue ourselves from this unfortunate situation. And the only way we can do that is to have a proper generational shift in our leadership.
So the next question would be now, what would be the qualities that we would look for? This is not about age. For me, I don't think it's about age.
I've never thought about it as age. I don't think age is a function of good leadership. No. It's not a function of good leadership. What we should be looking at for is people with impeccable character, people with good track records.
He had that.
People with, well, he had that in certain areas. We can still fall back to the early 1980s, and I know a lot of people complain about how the economy took a downturn in no time. So we supported him into office in 2015 because we were very, very certain that he was going to tackle two major issues, and that was the insecurity situation and corruption situation. In my opinion, yes, the insecurity situation seemed to be handled fairly well during the beginning of the administration, but now we seem to have lost it. And that is why I don't think we can get anything working if we do not have a decentralized system of government. The center is carrying too much and is unable to hold.
Okay, so you've touched on two things I want to write on. The economy, which the former President Obasanjo mentioned that he knew. He said, I know before President Buhari became president that
and
he
had
weakness in the knowledge and understanding of the economy. But I thought he would make good use of Nigerians in that area.
Obasanjo mentioned that because he was making reference to what happened in the 80s.
Okay. Also, he also mentioned that stop blaming past governments for devaluation of the naira. To say the least, accept your responsibility. Now, one of the issues I had, and I still have with this current administration, is that there's too much blame game going on. You know, this person did this person should have done this. You are vying for that position. I'm not going to let you comment on what the president, I'm going to tell you to say, what do you think could have been done? Because if you vie for a position, it means you have solution to fix the problem.
Absolutely. And thank you for that question, because that was why I came here. I wasn't coming here to talk about the letter. But the letter is on front burner, so that's good. First of all, when this administration assumed office, and for every administration, there's always something you are going to meet when you get into office. Either the economy was working properly and you'll be able to go on long-term plans, or you meet an economy that was in a state of comatose and maybe you have to start with short-term plans. In this particular situation, we met an economy that was really suffering. There was a lot of money that was spent between 2013 and 2015 that made the economy really messed up. Whatever you were seeing on the papers, figures, they were all manipulated. And that is why the international community doesn't really trust us when it comes to business, because our foreign and stock exchange is always, you know, been put together just to attract people. But these people know, they have the indices, they have the indicators. To answer your question, I think at that time, I agree that the president wanted to see how he could get the economy working by fighting corruption and mopping out all the loose funds that were circulating in the system. But before then, people were already complaining of some, you know, pull out from ability to access funds. I expected that at that time, as opposed to just mopping out the funds. When you mop up all the funds, you break down the economy process. Nothing was happening in this country. I expected at that time, you should have invested in small projects that would make money flow in the system.
What would you do now?
Pay arrears. Exactly, because nothing has changed. So he met, the situation he met in 2015 is about the same situation that we're still in today.
How can they fund the economy? There's no loan.
I'll explain to you. It's not a question of loan. I expected that this present administration, for example, when it took billions of naira to the Chad Basin to look for hydrocarbon, after one of the campaign mantras was, we're going to diversify the economy, I expected that at that time we'll be looking at maybe focusing on agriculture. And we're not just focusing on agriculture, we're looking at agriculture in all facets of agriculture, whether it's been from the farm gate and ensuring that the farmers have a proper mechanized system of farming, from the farm gate to the processing plant, to the storage plant, and onward delivery to packaging, and then onward delivery to the end users.
Okay, so this looks like there's a problem with the system.
There's a problem with the system.
So it's not about coming in and being the president. So, you know, you're coming in, you're running for this office. Is this the best, you know, we can do? Shouldn't we be looking at more grassroots engagement, you know, involvement instead of coming and being the one person who can change it, but surrounded by all those that
I don't think it's one person trying to change this. I think what we started doing when we started the sensitization exercise, we worked through campuses, we worked through the grassroots, like you mentioned, and people are beginning to look at themselves and say, we probably would have a different option should we look different places. You know, we should stop looking at the same recycled leadership and expect something different to happen. And that is exactly what I want us to do. Now that we're talking about these things, we shouldn't just be talking about them. We should be asking those hard questions. What will you do differently? And what will you...
Sorry to come in, because I don't want you to start the campaign yet. The campaign is still there. But Falana said something, and I want to quote him. He said the statement by Obasanjo is a clarion call on the president to remove the incompetent and corrupt cabal of power mongers that have hijacked political power from him. Obasanjo also, former President Obasanjo also accused the president of nepotism and clannishness. In your view, how does the number one man, who is the president, how do they avoid or run away from getting to that trap of nepotism, clannishness, or surrounding themselves with a cabal that seem impenetrable?
I'll tell you very clearly. As a leader, if you do not have the capacity to fire somebody, do not hire him. And that's just it. So the president, unfortunately, I think he's been so disconnected from the system. And when he had the opportunity to come back, he only remembered the people he worked with in the 70s and the 80s. And we had a reflection of what happened in the 70s and the 80s in our ministers, in our special advisors. And the only thing they can give you is what they have. They can't give you what they don't have. And so you find your Minister of Agriculture was screened in the 80s and still screened in 2015.
So I want to ask you about, you've mentioned that you're not bothered about the age, you know, but the point is, the former president mentioned that even without impaired health, the strain of age running the affair of Nigeria is a 25/7 affair, not even a 24/7 affair. So we can't run away from the fact that the age factor and state of health is important.
Yes, I understand. We all are interested in finding somebody who's more agile, somebody who's more representative at this point in time. But as well, at the same time, we do have some young people who we cannot be so proud of. So age should not be the criteria for our decision. I didn't say anything. No, I know. But age should not be the criteria for our decision on good leadership. Some people with very old ages attached to them have been able to perform beyond. We've seen Donald Trump here and there, despite the fact that he's in the 70s as well. So we should look beyond just the age and start looking for what ideas you're bringing on board, how prepared are you for this?
On Twitter, Andrew in Street Time is asking that, are you related in any way to the present president? And along with that, I want to ask you, how do you, if you're vying for office, how do you intend to appoint your cabinet? Because, you know, we run a democracy and you need to work with people.
You're already screening for George.
There's already the Nigerian factor. I'm just thinking, the way they're going to come at you to take over, the possibility of someone taking over your government is when you have to appoint along tribal lines, along religious lines. These factors that that's always, you know, always reoccurring in our entire process. How are you going to bring that into?
Thank you. So first of all, I'm not related to Ahmed Buhari. The only relationship I have with him right now is the fact that he's my president, just the same way he's a president to all of you. And again, we should disassociate ourselves from thinking that a name is what defines a person. There's something they call character, there's something they call antecedents, and all of those things. These are the things that you put together to explain or define a human being. There are so many Evanses in the world, and I don't think all of them are kidnappers. So these are the kind of, I want us to start growing beyond all those sentiments and those thoughts that we always have, and start looking at what has the person got to offer. Because there's somebody that can come with a different name or a special name that you like from the past and not necessarily perform. So moving to your next question, which has to do with how do we get the right people into office? So first of all, I'm going to be very honest with you. We cannot, I am a strong advocate for the abolishment of state of origin, or quota system, and all of those things. However, it's enshrined in our constitution in Section 4. And there's no how you tell me you don't have great people in Lagos State, the same way you have great people in Kebbi State, or you have in Zamfara State, or you have in Enugu State. There are some good people there. And so our selection should be based on the people that have capacity, proven capacity, especially in the private sector. And we have lots of technocrats. So our selection should be based on technicalities. What have you done? What is the capacity you have? And what current trends are you flourishing? Okay. There are so many young people running their own independent businesses today that we can pick from. Yes. So let
me pause you. I have a call from Lawrence. Lawrence, are you there? Oh, sorry, we kept you waiting.
I wanted to ask you something because you mentioned technocrats just now. And before we go on a break, you might not be able to answer it. We need technocrats, but a leader has to have the capacity to build partnerships. So you've been campaigning, but we've had Donald Duke come out. We've had people, Faladotoye is saying he wants to run for a new Nigeria. There are coalitions going on. How are you partnering with them? Because for you to prove as being a leader,
you need to have... Are you in any coalition right now?
Are you working on?
We have lots of discussions going on right now. And I'm hoping that Nigerians will look beyond, like I said, all those sentiments that we've always had, and start to look at the possibility of getting leadership that can win us the victory right now. Because what I aim to say is we still haven't been able to crack our minds to dissociate ourselves from that. All those things that have always divided us, whether it's been religion, ethnicity, social status, political party affiliation, and start...
We have to take a break, I'm sorry.
Sure, it's okay.
We have to come back. When we come back, we'll take questions from the audience. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back.
Thanks for staying with us. So we're going to ask one or two questions from the audience. Anybody ready? Let's see. First question.
I'm Bello Monsuru. So I want to totally agree with Mr. President, former President Obasanjo, that our current president should should not contest for the next election, because when you look about it, he ruled us back in 1985, if I could remember, and someone was not born then. So someone ruling us in 1985 still coming back again to rule us. So he should just try to leave the post for let's win the young ones who are vibrant to take to the next level in Nigeria. God bless Nigeria.
Let's take another question, please. No, we already heard from you, sir. Let me see. Yes.
Mrs. Nkechi Williams. I want to say that I'm not a politician, but I want to say that Obasanjo should allow Nigeria for now. Let him allow Nigeria to be. Buhari himself have good intentions for Nigeria, but the cabal surrounding him is the problem he's having. I was educated. I mean, in 1985, I enjoyed Buhari. I enjoyed his government. If Buhari will be given the chance to rule Nigeria again, he will do better.
Okay, all right, fantastic. Let's take one more comment, please.
My question goes to the gentleman there. Now, before the present administration came in, they seem to have solution to all our problems. And now we are still facing the same thing. In fact, worse than what we had then. Please, you are here now. What do you have for us as an aspiring president? Thank you.
Thank you for the question. You know, I've always stood on one ground, and that is you cannot have a country succeeding if you don't have a proper data management system. And that is the missing element in Nigeria. Today as a country, if you cannot tell me how many people were born today, or how many people will die today, or how many people died yesterday, for example, I don't know how you can even prepare a budget. So when the Minister of Interior tells me we're about 186, and another person tells me we're about 190 million, and somebody tells me we're over 200 million, and somebody even still forecasts and tell me in another 10 years we'll be 250 million, I ask him, where is the statistics? Where is the data? This is what I believe can move our country forward. Before we can move forward, before we can start having things that we can offer to Nigerians and say, oh, now you have a government that you can rely upon. Now you have a government that can cater for your needs. We'll have to have a proper data management system. We introduce the new Nigerian number. And what does the new Nigerian number give you? It gives you access to certain things that the government can provide for you. So if we're looking at people in the old people within the ages of 60 and above, and we say we want to give them free healthcare, we would have to know how many of them exist.
One second, let Mariam come in.
Okay, I have a question for you.
Yes.
Usually, like, you know, the gentleman up there said, you know, you come out, you have all these promises that you make, you're talking about data management, it sounds all new and exciting, you know.
We've been there.
And then, yes, we've sort of been there. But then there's a problem that, you know, we seem to face. You usually come into power because you're surrounded by a cabal, or you have a godfather. In your case, so who is your godfather? Is that what you're using to get in there? And who is your cabal?
So far, in the process of this journey, the Nigerian people have actually been the biggest support that I've gotten, especially young people. And I want to remind all of us listening, the process that gets us the kind of leadership that we get has to be paid by us. So in other words, we would have to pay for the kind of leadership that we deserve. Otherwise, we will be paid for the kind of leadership that we get. What does that mean? It means that people like yourself, myself, would have to take part in the process. People like yourself and myself would have to invite aspirants, people that want to run our situation and say, what plans have you got? Are they smart? Are they measurable? Are they actualizable? Are they realistic? Are they time-bound? Can we see them happening in our country? If yes, all those things are possible. If yes, all those things are possible, then we can start tilting our minds towards who to support. But if we're going to sit down and expect people to come and pay us, then we're going to be paid for the kind of democracy that we get. So it is time for us to start thinking of how we can pay for the kind of democracy that we deserve and not be paid for the kind of democracy that we get. And that is all. But to answer your question, what has to do with godfatherism, I haven't got any godfather. You can check me out. The most important thing is I made this declaration alone. I did not wait for any group of people to say, come out, or one pastor or imam to say.
But then let me say something, sir, because political calculators who I've been talking to recently have somewhat projected that the next candidate or whoever, maybe not this election, but the next president is probably going to come from the North Central. And that's because they feel that they can get some votes from that North Central person can get the votes from the South, East, Southwest, South, and possibly one or two from the North. Do you think that calculation works for you? And do you agree with this calculation?
The only calculation that can work for us right now is to get involved. You see, during elections, or on voting days. You know, people keep complaining, oh, look at the queue in Kano, it's long from here to there. I think they actually queued cows and goats to actually vote for them. The truth of the matter is they take politics very seriously. Most of us here are going to be in our rooms, we're going to watch TVC, we're going to be on Twitter and things like that, forgetting that the only thing that can give us the kind of the result that we desire will have to mean us going out there to ensure that we take part in the process.
So
if we don't take part in the
about
process,
INEC registration, because I know that it's ongoing and we're not having as much
turn up.
Yes. So
Yes.
break it down. How can we register?
Very sadly, you know, we do have an organization called the Reformation, and we exist in the 36 states. And of course, the Ahmed B campaign organization also exists in the 36 states with state directors, local government representatives, as well as world level representatives. The information we're receiving now is that most of these young people who are going to register are being asked to pay some token before they go through the registration process. This in itself is actually making them turn back and say, oh, I don't have to pay that money if I have to register. Let me just go and sit at home. These are people that are already being impoverished, and you're asking them to come and pay to actually have something that they deserve as part of the civic right. So I think the only thing that can actually get us results in 2019 is for us to get involved. And the only way we can get involved is to participate, not just by passing comments, but actually thinking and finding out possible solutions.
We have to round up the show, unfortunately. We have very little time. But I think what we can take from former President Olusegun Obasanjo's speech is that our president can choose to take or not take his advice. So he can run if he chooses to, and he may not run. But the point is, regardless of what he chooses, the buck stops with us.
Absolutely.
We're the ones that vote. So the most important thing, if you don't get anything from this conversation, get your PVC.
And get
involved.
No
matter how hard it is,
get
it. That's the only way. Let's change the narrative, right?
Yes.
Yes, let's change the narrative.
So if we're talking about Obasanjo's letter to Buhari, I think we should be talking about more young aspirants coming out.
Simple.
Let's talk about different things. Let's not talk about the same people. These are the same people that got us Buhari in the first place. So let's look for something else. It depends on you and I now.
Fantastic.
Let's make up our mind.
Thank you very much. Unfortunately, that's all we can take on the show. Thank you very much. We're still going to bring you back when the campaign starts proper. Don't worry, we'll do a proper your view debate.
Thank you.
Hopefully you'll be able to hold your own. Thank you very much.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Hope you had enjoyed the show. Please don't worry. Stay tuned to watch again tomorrow. Thank you very much, our lovely audience. Thank you for joining us. You're amazing. You're always welcome anytime on Wednesdays. Please, anytime, just show up. Have a fabulous day. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.